Princess Diana died in 1997, but in the smallest, most personal way possible. She never really left, because every few months, without fail, Princess Catherine steps out wearing something that once belonged to her. A ring, a pair of earrings, a tiara that has been photographed 1,000 times on two different women 20 years apart. Today, we're going through every single piece, where it came from, what it meant to Diana, and why the Princess of Wales keeps reaching for it again and again in front of the entire world. This is Royal News Spot. Let's start with a piece everyone already knows, the one that changed everything the moment it appeared on her hand. The engagement ring, 12 carats of sapphire surrounded by 14 diamonds. Set in 18-carat white gold, Diana chose it herself in 1981 from a catalogue which was almost unheard of for a royal engagement ring at the time. Most royal brides received something custom-made, something private, something designed in secret, sketched out in advance by a court jeweller and approved months ahead of any public announcement. Diana didn't do that. She picked hers the way any other young woman might, out of a jewellery case, because she loved how it looked, and because, at 20 years old, she was allowed to still have opinions of her own about something as personal as an engagement ring. When Diana died, that ring didn't go to a museum, and it didn't get locked away in a palace vault, the way so many other pieces of significant royal jewellery eventually do. It went to William. He kept it for over a decade, long before he had any plans to propose to anyone, long before Princess Catherine was even part of his life. And when he finally decided to ask her to marry him, he didn't design something new, and he didn't commission a modern piece to mark a new chapter. He gave her his mother's ring. William has said in the years since that giving Princess Catherine the ring felt like giving his mother a way to be part of the moment, a way to be there even though she couldn't be. And every single time the Princess of Wales raises her hand in public, whether she's waving to a crowd, signing a guest book, or simply resting her hand on a car door as she steps out in front of cameras, that ring is there. Diana's ring, on the hand of the woman who will one day be queen. But the ring is only the beginning. Let's talk about the earrings. Diana had a pair of pearl drop earrings that she wore constantly in the final years of her life. Simple, elegant, understated compared to some of the larger, more elaborate jewellery she owned. They weren't the flashiest thing in her collection, and they never made the front page of a magazine on their own. But they were one of the pieces she reached for most often. The kind of jewellery a person wears not because it's the most expensive or the most dramatic, but because it feels like them quietly on an ordinary day. Princess Catherine has worn those same earrings on numerous occasions since becoming a working royal, often pairing them with equally understated outfits, the kind of styling choice that photographers and royal watchers noticed almost immediately. It wasn't just that the earrings were beautiful, it was that she seemed to be choosing them deliberately, again and again, in moments that called for exactly the kind of quiet elegance Diana was known for. Then there are the Collingwood sapphire earrings, a set that matches the engagement ring almost perfectly, bluestone for bluestone, cut for cut. Diana wore them together with the ring on several occasions, creating a complete look that became instantly recognizable to anyone who followed the royal family, even casually. Decades later, Princess Catherine has recreated that exact same pairing, the ring and the earrings together, at formal events, state visits and evening receptions. And the resemblance to old photographs of Diana is not subtle, it's the point. And then there's the piece that might be the most symbolically loaded of them all, the Cambridge Lovers' Knot tiara. This tiara wasn't originally Diana's. It was made in 1913 for Queen Mary, based on an even older design from the previous century, and it eventually passed to Queen Elizabeth II, who gave it to Diana as a wedding gift in 1981. Diana wore it constantly throughout the 1980s in some of the most famous royal photographs ever taken, the kind that still circulate today whenever anyone writes about her life. It became, in many ways, one of the defining images of her early years as Princess of Wales, a piece as recognisable as her face. After Diana's death, the tiara went back into the royal collection, and for years nobody wore it publicly. It sat quietly, waiting then. In 2015, Princess Catherine wore it for the first time to a state banquet, and the moment made headlines around the world. Not just because the tiara was beautiful, though it is, but because everyone in that room and everyone watching at home understood exactly what they were looking at. They were looking at Diana's tiara on Diana's future daughter-in-law at a formal state occasion more than 2 decades after Diana had passed away. Royal commentators have pointed out that the Princess of Wales tends to reach for this particular tiara at moments that matter most, the biggest state visits, the most heavily photographed events, the nights when the whole world is watching the royal family most closely. It's not an everyday choice, it's a deliberate one, saved for the occasions that carry the most weight. Now, here's something that connects all of this in a way most people never think about. Diana wrote a private letter years before she died, expressing a hope that her future daughters-in-law would one day wear her jewellery. She never met Princess Catherine. She never met Meghan. She had no way of knowing who her sons would eventually marry, or what kind of women they would become, or whether either of them would even want to wear a stranger's old jewellery decades later. But she wrote that hope down anyway, on paper, long before either relationship existed, long before anyone could have predicted how any of it would unfold. And it happened. Both of William's and Harry's wives have worn pieces from Diana's collection on some of the most significant days of their own lives. Meghan wore one of Diana's rings to her own wedding reception. Princess Catherine has worn pieces from Diana's collection at nearly every major milestone since becoming a working royal, from her wedding day onward. Diana never got to meet either of these women. She never got to see her granddaughter, Charlotte, or her grandsons, George, Louis, or Archie. She never got to see the family her sons eventually built. But in a strange, quiet way, through jewellery, through fabric and stone and metal that has outlasted her by decades, she's still present at nearly everything. There's something almost eerie about how consistently this happens. It's not a one-time tribute, a single symbolic gesture at a wedding and then nothing else, quietly forgotten in the years that follow. It's ongoing. It's been happening for over a decade, across dozens of events, in a pattern too consistent to be accidental, too repeated to be simple coincidence. Some royal watchers believe Princess Catherine does this purely out of respect, a quiet, ongoing acknowledgement of the woman who raised the man she married, a woman she never had the chance to meet in person, never had the chance to sit across from at a family dinner or ask questions about William as a child. Others believe there's a more strategic layer to it as well, a way of visually connecting herself to Diana's legacy, to the warmth and public affection Diana commanded during her lifetime, at a moment when the monarchy badly needs exactly that kind of public goodwill. Both things can be true at once. Respect and strategy are not mutually exclusive, especially inside an institution where every single choice, from a tiara to a hand gesture to the earrings picked out before leaving the house that morning, is watched, photographed, and analysed within minutes of stepping outside. There's also a quieter theory worth mentioning, one that has less to do with strategy and more to do with simple human comfort. Some people who have worked closely with the royal household over the years have suggested that Princess Catherine finds a kind of steadiness in wearing these particular pieces, especially at the events that carry the most pressure. Not because she's trying to send a message to the cameras, but because there's something grounding about carrying a piece of someone else's history into a moment that feels overwhelming. Diana understood, better than almost anyone who has ever worn the title Princess of Wales, exactly how much pressure comes with that role. Wearing her jewellery, in that sense, might be less about symbolism for the public, and more about borrowing a little bit of her strength. What we do know for certain is this: Diana's jewellery didn't disappear into a vault after she died. It didn't become a museum piece, sealed behind glass, untouched for the next 50 years, wheeled out only for exhibitions and anniversary specials. It kept moving. It kept appearing in public on the people Diana loved most, at exactly the moments when the world was watching. She wrote a wish down on paper once, quietly, privately, with no guarantee it would ever come true. No way of knowing if her sons would even keep her jewellery, let alone pass it on to anyone. And 2 decades later, it has come true, again and again, one piece of jewellery at a time. On the hand and the ears and the head of the woman who will one day be queen. What do you think? Which piece of Diana's jewellery means the most to you? Let me know in the comments below. I read every one of them. Subscribe to Royal News Spot, because while other channels chase scandals, we tell the full story. This is Royal News Spot, the crown, uncovered. See you in the next one.